Well, I have to say that for me, this, and I think for all of us, this event was quite important. Why? Because we think that Israeli voices must be heard. That's very important. And we know this because we are seeing that there are a lot of Israeli citizens that want to express themselves and they don't have, the right platforms or means to do that. And we are seeing the pain in the Palestinian side, and we are seeing the pain of many Israelis, which cannot never, ever confused with this right-wing government. And that we wanted to offer you a space to do that, and Destiny, because it was Maktub, put in my way, Yoav. So we have decided to organize this, which I think it is very important. If we talk about Israel, and we know that there is a huge part of the society, of course, that is very democratic, and how we have seen this for the past year with the demonstration of the judiciary reform. Many people is in the street. Is a very such society that advocates for a lot of fair and justice cause, and this is what we have seen going on. So for us, it's quite dramatic that many of your voices, and taking into consideration the trauma that Israel is passing through since 7th of October, are not really be heard. And we think that this is important. You need to be here. We're going to support you, and your voices need to be heard. And because we know that many of you are supporting all the Palestinians that are suffering in Gaza, we are talking about more than 43,000 dead people, many people dead under the rubble. And I'm speaking here as an Spanish MP, and I have Lebanese person also that as my half Lebanese part, we are advocating also for ceasefire in Lebanon. Situation is quite dramatic in all our part of the world. And I like that you were presenting yourself as a mother, because as mothers, also we feel so, this empathy towards the death and the suffering of others. And this have no religion, have no political ideology. It's just the way it is. And I think it's very important. As it has been said here, and it's very important, the fact that there is, the cornerstone of democratic societies lies in, freedom of speech. And we don't really feel so free when we talk now about, a ceasefire, stopping the war, and when we are talking about what is going on, in Gaza. So here, even in the parliament, Gaza is out, word of Gaza is out of many of the speeches we want to take to the plenary sessions, which for us is very hard. Or if you talk about what Israeli government is doing, you are anti-Semite, which it is quite stupid, because Arab are Semites. I always say the same. So if we are to be anti-Semites, we are super anti-Semite because 43,000 Palestinians have been killed and they are Semites. So, this is stupid kind of narrative that we need to pull out of it. As I'm always saying also that this is not a religious problem. This is a political problem. There's no any problem between Jews and Muslims. There's no, because they have never been, and it was interesting that I was in a conference of Ilan Papel last Friday, was saying we want to know this type of convivence, that it was wonderful between Jews, Muslims, and Christians that have always been a model through all, the history. And this is something we have to repeat always. I have to say this is super tough, but it is the truth. 6 million Jews were killed in Europe. We have to fight anti-Semitism really here. No, Arabs did not kill Jews during the World War. So I think it's fair to say that, because the convivence, and the type of, comprehension and understanding between Jews, Muslims, and Christians is a reality that, we have to explain always. I mean, this because, this is normal in a country so diverse like Israel. I was in Israel 10 days ago. I was in Tel Aviv and I was in Ramallah. Certainly very, very different one place to another. And there was a demonstration of very young people against the settlers. It's, Tel Aviv is such a vibrant city. It's wonderful. And, you can see people walking around and, with a lot of flags and talking in the street. Yeah, very close and very kind society, I must say. And I was talking with some of my colleagues there that it's very important, to let people know what's going on. And certainly people want to express what they feel, and they are having, some constraints because of the policies of the government. I have to say that not everybody are aware what is going on in Gaza, because not all the media in Israel is reporting what is going on in Gaza, which is very unfair for such an educated society as Israeli society. And, politics in the Middle East is part of our lives. Everybody talks about politics since we are little kids, this is how it is. And we share many common things that we need to, and I think that we have common fights, we need to be there. I was eating knefe in the beach, knefe, which it is, the symbol, really the symbol of Israeli and Arabs. And my dad called me and he told me, how do you find it? My grandfather used to go to Palestine every week, from Beirut, because there was only one road that was united both cities. And I thought that was just like Beirut, and the knefe is the same weather, same sea, same people, This is this is the Middle East we like, and this is the reality we have in the Middle East, and that we have to fight for. We are going to support the NGOs. Another thing you have mentioned very slightly, but it is important, the legal opinion of the ICJ and the ICC. We need to work in that because I think it's very important. That sets a precedent that we need to put on the table. Also, if you support this kind of measures that are, part of our legal system, then you are an anti-Semite, which doesn't have any sense, because we need international courts, we need independent international courts. And that's very important. The fact that we don't have really, journalists working on Gaza, or that they are, they have killed more than 150 or 130, which is, only one is already too much. They have, banning international media. It's crazy, and that's not democratic at all. I have to say also that is really crazy, the quantity of young Israeli soldiers that are dying in this war, when I think that these guys are between 18 or 20 years, I think in their parents. How can society can afford all this kind of death, which it is crazy, I think, a lot in their parents. When I was there, more than 12,000 were in hospitals, and more than 900, maybe now it's 1,000 dead. So, I'm thinking in all the parts involved in this conflict, and everybody's suffering too much, extremely too much. The issue with the law in the Knesset with the UNRWA, UNRWA for all of us is very normal, because we have lived this since in our society. There have been many times in refugee camps. UNRWA is everything there because of education and because of health issues. If UNRWA is not there, because they're the only one who have the capacity and the architecture, to get everything, to the Palestinians, that will be completely, this is what happened. People are dying of hunger, and new diseases are rising, and the Palestinians are in a very, very difficult situation that we have to denounce daily. Another thing, I know that I cannot extend myself too much, and there are other colleagues here who want to hear. Very worrying about Islamophobia here in Europe too, and other parts of the world, that we need to address this. And it's very important. And the issue of the families in Israel. I've been working with families in Israel since the 7th of October. Families that are really suffering a lot. Of course, because of what happened with Hamas, nobody will support that if it has any kind of common sense. And in fact, one of the girls that was released in one of the deals, she's coming to Madrid this Sunday. I will be with her and the families. The 3 Jew communities have called me to give a speech there that I will deliver, of course. And the families were asking me now in the Knesset, when I was in Tel Aviv, that we should fight for an arms embargo, because, they want their kids back. They want their family back. So this is a huge trauma in the Israeli society that we need to address. People are suffering a lot. And I met a father also a few weeks back that he was a survivor of the terrorist attack in Argentina in the 80s, and now 2 of his kids are kidnapped. How can you survive that? That's crazy. And I just want to address the fact that the families in Israel are suffering a lot. We need the members of their families to be back. For that, we need the ceasefire, and we need to call and advocate a lot of this. For that, we have to be brave. Now we have to be brave for everything. That's crazy, man. You want to talk about ceasefire, you have to be brave, because, there is a lot of boycotts in the media. If you defend the rights of the Palestinian, you are an anti-Semite. That's crazy. We are reaching to this point, even in politics, even in this parliament. So I think we need to be clear. And we have lived, especially, I have to say this in Spanish, personally, in our country, because my president have been very brave recognizing the Palestinian state. It's not only the idea of Pedro Sanchez, it's the fact that there are resolutions of United Nations. One state was recognized, Israel, and now we have to recognize Palestine. It's as simple as this. And I think they have the right to have their own land. And the occupation must end. I think we have to be very clear in that, because everybody has the right to exist. And really, we want everybody to exist and to be in peace, because the region, us, we, our generations, our parents, our kids, the future cannot resist this pressure anymore. We are talking about human lives, and really people wants to live. I was walking now I will Matjaž, yes. It's sorry, it's a very sensitive topic, I think, for all of us. And when you see the pain of people that close, that affects you too much. So I will not extend myself too much, just that we need to keep on this. We will work with NGOs. That for us, it's very important your work. It's basic because, as I said at the beginning in the introduction, politicians can pass, but your voice is the strength that, maintain politics alive. And this is your house. And I want to be very thankful with my MP colleagues that came here also to support us. I know that we are all in the same side, and this is your house for anything you need. Thank you again for being here.